Hello, everybody, and welcome to your Monday night Plastic Crack podcast. There's only 3 of us here tonight. Well, there's 2 regulars, and then there's our very special guest. And Steve apologises for not being here, but he got a migraine, and he's not here. I can't even really think of anything to take the mickey out of him about for that. Well, he went outside. He went outside.
He went to the office twice in a week, and that gave him a headache.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is season 6, episode 34, and we've been joined today by the enormously talented Mike Peters, a man of many hats. You right, Mike?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Thanks for having me here. It's lovely to be here again.
No, it's brilliant. Your last appearance, I think, was one of our most watched shows of last year, and I thought actually, we were talking before the stream when I said, I thought it was, only about 12 months ago. It was actually in February 2024 that you came in. So it's been a busy 18 months for everybody, for everyone. I'm now 40 since the last time we've done that. Dom had turned.
I've gone 30. I'm going the other way, mate.
You're going backwards.
Yeah, I'm going
you're
backwards.
doing the Benjamin Button. You're going the other way.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm nearly 40 as well. I'm nearly 40.
Yeah,
What's it like?
Deniability was good.
I employed someone, and I was trying to explain to them. I think I've said this before, but I was trying to explain to them about how the world went dinosaur crazy in 1992 when Jurassic Park came out, and they have no point of reference, so they just have no memory of it. So so I have someone who works for me. He wasn't even born when Lord of the Rings came out, which I find just blows my mind completely. But of course, so Mike is here tonight. We are going to be chatting about what's happened with his Ruckus and what's coming with Ruckus. We are going to be just catching up on everything that has been occurring. So as we're going, if you have got any questions, please do pop them down in the chat and we'll star those and we can have a look at those later on. This is the last show before Crackcon. Which actually is going to tie in really nicely because Mike is going to be at Crackcon. So for those of you that are coming, everything that Mike talks about today, you can then remind him about in 6 days. And you said the rules worked like this. You said I could do this. It's all right because Steve's not here, so we can say whatever we like about Steve tonight because we're going to see him in a few days, and then we can stitch him right up and actually find out if he watches the stream back. Before we get going, let's have a little look who's joined us, and of course, thank you to everybody who's watching on the catch up. And tonight we got so first in here was David Baker. He's been looking forward to this tonight, and he's painting Victrix, Macedonians, and Foot Knights.
Nice,
Excellent. 2 different periods, or is he going to be doing some sort of mixed army? Bitty is here. He's painting some Warlord Games French Lancers. Paul's here. Hello from a Dank and Dark Mercia, painting French Huguenot Regiment for King Billy's army. Funnily enough, Paul was the I played Ruckus against Paul. We had 2 games back in when we had the sort of the mini Crackcon 5.5 thing back in March, and he kicked my ass. 2 times running, and because the peasant rocked up, and one of my big men got taken out by a woman with a jug. And she just battered it. She just jumped. She jumped out of a car and she hit him with her jug, and that was it. it was game over for him. Grant's here. How are you doing, Grant? I hope you're doing well, buddy. Bicker, you're right, Don. How you doing? Evening all. Assembling British infantry for Bolt Action Italian project. The weather is nice and sunny, but I'm at work, so who cares?
Yeah,
true. Nick's here. He's working on Crackcon bits and pieces. I can't wait to see Nick's game at Crackcon. I don't know if you've seen this, but Nick is doing a homebrewed War of the Worlds game in 20. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Red Steph, Lionheart, Seriously Wargaming, Digger Down Under, Martin Hoey, Ed James, Mobile and Hostile, Mark Riding, Rich M is here. He's finishing basing the last Jacobite regiments for Crackcon. Is there a lot of people finishing things off tonight for Crackcon by any chance?
Well, didn't you say you just finished something for Crackcon?
I did just finish something, yes. Mark Richards, John Carter, Bill Dutton, Adam Kirtley, Steve Harbour, Nick Games is here. How you doing, dude? He's working on his Duchy of Warsaw Grenadiers. I really am enjoying catching up with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an exciting project to see come together, isn't it?
Matt Wright is here. How are you doing? I'm sure
Hello,
Matt or something for Saturday. Andy Stocker, Wargamer Kane, Carl Burke, someone called Robbins popped in. He's seeing if he can squeeze out one more unit. Is that for Norfolk? Squeezing out a unit. Don't strain. Philip Redmond, Gary Bramley, Mort Zirks here, John Surbury, Recruit Painting, Paul Sewell, Valley Boys, New Zealand. I wonder if I can get away while watching this while I'm at the eye clinic. I think
put us on the screen.
Yeah. Don't they put on what you like? When you can request it, surely. Is it like the dentist where you can like request which radio station they put on? And then they don't. When I had my root canal, the guy had nothing. He had no radio on. He had absolutely nothing. He was just lying there in silence for 2 hours. While he gave me a
Did
root
he try
canal.
to talk to you? Because that's what they always do when I go.
No.
Yeah, well, these implements and stuff in your mouth, and then they start and talk to you, and you think, how can you can't talk back because you got them gobbled full of all their equipment.
As it was a root canal and it had all these teeny tiny little drills in my face, I daren't move. I didn't dare move. What's this? The Krusty Colonel's Wargame show. Hi there, it's a Krusty Colonel here. First time attendee. Welcome aboard. Not sure how I've missed this for so long. Busy painting some 15mm forged in battle Britons for Severus stickers to fight. Fantastic. Well, you've picked the perfect one to join on. So we hope you enjoy it. Shaco's is here. He's painting up Nam figures. I'm guessing for the weekend. So because he's been on a Vietnam game. We got David Benton, Camberwell Johnny, Road Trooper, Frank's Miniatures, Storm of Steel, Evening All just here for a bit, and a big up to Martin's shirts. Yes, is that I haven't worn the Emperor one for a little while. I felt I hadn't had enough black metal on the channel recently. That was actually the thing when I put down I did that video about how I did the wargaming tables, and I said that I used t-shirts. I think I was using some Iron Maiden ones and some Blind Guardians. A fair few of the comments started going off on a musical direction, so I was quite pleased. So now I feel like I have to live up to that if I do another one. Go for it painting, Dig It Down Under, Kevin Sturdy. Oh, it's going to do that thing again. Lazy Pirate Painting, Mutton Chops, Louis Baby, Ewok Kebab. Looking forward to meeting you at the weekend, dude. And Alid Roberts. I got to the bottom without it doing the funny thing where it went away. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Now, this isn't going to be an interrogation of Mike and all things Ruckus, one of my favorite games, but it might be. So let's have a chat. I think we've got quite a bit to get through, but for those of without putting you on the spot too much, Mike, for those people who may not know who you are in chat, could you introduce yourself and just tell us how you got into wargaming in this, how should we put this, in the most concise fashion possible?
Yeah. Well, in a concise manner possible. I never stopped playing with toy soldiers. Is how I got in wargaming. When everybody else put the toy soldiers down and picked up a football, I carried on playing with them. And instead of rolling marbles at them after a while, we started rolling dice at them. And if the dice rolled a 6, you could stand your soldier back up again. And that was the first proper war game I played when I was about 5 years old, I think. And then a friend of one of my friends, a dad of one of my friends, was a war gamer, and I was always curious about stuff. And one day he said, "Come and have a go." And I suppose I was about 8 years old, so that would have been 1969, I suppose, when I started war gaming. And I've never really stopped. And I've always I've never played the rules as written. I've always added or changed them. I've never found a set of rules that I'm completely happy with, that I don't want to change something. And after a while, you just start writing your own. And Ruckus came about when I played a couple of games of bill hooks. And I thought, this game would work well as a skirmish game, using the rules as they are, but with individual figures. And that's how we played it to start with, and it worked. And I wrote a few more rules for it, and I took it to Bristol Independent Gaming. I played Jim, the man who runs it there. What do you think of this? And he really liked it. I thought, no, I don't think this has got legs. I don't think this is going to go anywhere. Jim persuaded me to carry on with it, And at the same time, I'd kind of met the Wargames Illustrated crowd because I'd sent them some photographs of figures. And I'd had a chat with them and told them I had this half-written game, and they got interested, and that's how the game came around, really.
That's
as
fantastic.
nice as I can make that.
No. I mean, that reads very similar to what Dom was saying last week, actually, to be fair.
Yeah. There's a we always seem to have there's two divides, right? There's the gamers who get in through the GW route and that sort of stuff. And then there's the old schools, the genuine old war gamers like us that started off with the Airfix stuff and creating our own ways of playing the game and that kind of thing. It always seems to be the main two splits that happen now. So
finding that first Donald Featherstone book in the library when I was about 10 years old was probably the most important day of my life in many ways, really.
All those Donald Featherstone and there was about 3 or 4 around the same time when they came out. And
Tony Bath, Charles Grant.
Yeah.
They were all leaders of the field, weren't they? And then there was Stuart Asquith, and then the newer ones came in.
Used to get them out of the library constantly because constantly renewing them.
That was my route in, really.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I went with my dad to. My dad worked in Peterborough, and he needed something for me to do while I was being irritating and 10 years old. So he just took me to Games Workshop and left me in there while he had a meeting. And then he felt that he should buy something for, but not for me, but to repay them for their childcare duties in the early 90s. And then that was and that was that. I started out with those, but I don't regret it. My bank account does, but I don't. To try not
to spend the money on something else, at least
it would have been
metal to muck around with now.
Exactly. No, that's fantastic. Well, I guess the thing to say, so you mentioned it briefly just there, which was obviously you developed a skirmish game, Ruckus, from playing Nevermind the Billhooks, which I remember we said like last time, and obviously we chat like you were really, really taken with. How is that? So basically, how did the development of Ruckus come in? Because it started off as just a thing you were sort of trialing, and then, as you said, you didn't think it had legs, but it did, and then it's become sort of its own beast. While it still holds that sort of Billhooks, what's the right term? Sort of feel to it, that sort of
simplicity, I suppose, is the term. I mean, it's got nothing to do with Billhooks now. I mean, it shares the same kind of pedigree, but it really has no relation to Billhooks at all in the way that it plays. And what I was after was finding a game which I could enjoy writing and playing. And for me, it's got to have some mechanisms in it or some mechanics in it that other games don't have. And they've got to be elegant and they've got to be simple. And I was lucky enough to hit upon the idea for the melee system, which other games, very few games have a system like Ruckus. And what we discovered is that was an interesting little mechanic in the game that was complex and interesting enough to keep people interested in it, but simple enough that you could learn it straight away. And everybody seems to enjoy that aspect of the game. And it's very, very easy to write skills and rules around that because it's just, so a re-roll or an addition is a skill. And you've got 4 or 5 just there, just by adding things or subtracting things or allowing re-rolls or allowing extra dice. You can extend that system to cover various different types, from the clumsy, useless peasant with his blunt weapon to the very skilled and accurate assassin with his very sharp weapons. And that can all fit within the simple mechanism that we managed to find for Ruckus.
You say simple. I mean, I just grabbed it. Here it is for people who haven't seen it. Here it is with all my. Oh, hang on. What's this? This is me scratching down skills as we were playing with, or what things that have gone wrong. This is actually my list of reasons to not like Robin in games. The nasty things he does to me. It's very short, that list. It's very short.
It's very well.
Well, the last game went absolutely horrific for me against Robin. He burnt down everything, including my people. But you say simple, but the combat is a very elegant system. And for those of you who don't know, because first of all, I should say, and we've mentioned this on the chat, is there's a big push in medieval gaming, which is great for me because I love the medieval period. So all of these medieval games, but I would say still that Ruckus is unique with its feel, but also with its combat mechanism, which is, for those of you who don't know, when you enter combat, essentially it's, if you survive, it's fought over 3 rounds of combat. So a combat exchange can be fought over 3 rounds, and initially you're both fresh. You strike on force. You can use certain skills. Then in the second round, you're a bit more tired. Things are getting a little bit harder, and then by the time the third round happens, you're knackered. You can't use your skills, and you're hitting on the fight, and that's when the peasant gets you. That's when the peasant gets you, and you really get this sort of back and forth. And what I really like about it, and in our last game, and if you're watching this, you haven't seen them, there's a playlist on the channel. We had this sort of mechanic whereby you almost had like an advanced deployment. We had this carriage kind of roll onto the battlefield, but we didn't know who was going to be in it, and then the troops came jumping out. So my men got out. They bravely ran up the hill, tripped over, and just got massacred by the waiting French mercenaries at the top of the hill. But what I really like about it, and we're going to talk about how this is developed into your latest offering, is, for me, it has the RPG light experience with it, that you can really, because you only need 12 figures. There isn't a point system per se. You just kind of build out based on your requirements. And on the Facebook group, which you guys can find links to down below, you can see these amazing warbands that people are putting together, and people really do. And it doesn't just have to be set in the Wars of the Roses, which we're going to see. But even in that, I've created a warband of English deserters who decided to desert everybody. Actually, that's the anniversary of the Battle of Ludford Bridge today, when they deserted. They all buggered off. Mine just buggered off and didn't go anywhere. And then we created some French mercenaries who have come over, and they're the long-standing enemies of this one. So we've got this. And is that something that you intended when you were doing it? Or is that just something that came about?
Well, kind of. I mean, I set it in War of the Roses because that was the figures I had. That was the only reason. And so it was simple to do that. But the game doesn't revolve around weapon types, and it doesn't revolve around armor types, really. It revolves more around the skills that characters have. My argument is that these people, especially the knights at the top end of medieval society, were so well trained in martial combat that one of them with a knife would take you out. You wouldn't have a chance. They don't need the huge, great spears and big axes and all that kind of thing. It's the skills that they have, the weapons that they use, rather than the type of weapon. With the untrained type, it's the other way around, and they're defined almost by the weapon they carry. So if you've got, the majority of medieval armies is a shield and a spear, and those guys aren't particularly well trained. They can do a few things, but the knights can sort of go between them with a butter knife, I reckon, and take them away. And that's the philosophy behind how this game works, really. So you don't have to worry too much about what they're wearing or what they're carrying. And that's extended. So we've got, I think, about 20 different retinues that I've written up for the game now. And we have this thing at Bristol Independent Gaming, Big, called Big Ruckus. And we put these tournaments on about every 2 months, 2 to 3 months. There's supposed to be one next month. I'm not quite sure it's going to go ahead at the moment. It should be next month. And I invite people to try whatever they want. And what happens usually is they contact me beforehand. I'd like to try this retinue. And we, between us, work out some ideas for it. And then I use that tournament for playtesting. So the last tournament we did, we had an Irish retinue, which is brilliant. I mean, they just work really well. We had Hussites, which is cool. Our new one. We had a Blackadder contingent.
Excellent.
Tremendous fun. And the guy who wrote that, Peter, I can't remember his surname, Peter, had contacted me, and we emailed backwards and forwards, and he sent me his ideas for the different characteristics that he wanted them all to have. And he was sensible enough to give them an advantage and a disadvantage in the same way. So Blackadder obviously is a complete coward, but he's a very clever man. So he's able to do cunning things, but not necessarily very fighty, and tends to run away. Then he had characters like Kate, known as Bob, who's fascinated by squirrels and keeps running off chasing squirrels. And it became quite bizarre, quite surrealist, quite surreal, but great fun. It was really good fun, and he enjoyed it. It was good.
Brilliant.
And then we had the fighting monks that somebody else brought along, and before that we had the Granny's Ruckus reenactment society. That were kind of like Monty Python's, the Women's Institute when they refought the Pearl Harbor. They were like that, and they had their little flower dresses on, and one of them was holding a cup of tea. The figures. Fantastic, and I don't mind people trying all that at this, because it's a great deal of fun. We had somebody called Robin Hood at the last one, and we had people. The last big ruckus in Bristol, nobody from Bristol came to it. We had people from London, Telford, Poole, Swansea. We had people from all over the country came to play in it. Swindon, Bath, up to about 150, 200 miles away. People travelled to come and play the game. Which was a great compliment to me, and made it a great deal of fun meeting all these new people. And that's, for me, one of the wonderful things about doing this kind of thing is making new friends all the time. And the best thing about it for me is watching people play my game and have a lot of fun, because there's a lot of laughter around Ruckus. You can't take it seriously. It's not a game to take seriously. It's a game to have fun with.
We found that definitely in our first game, in our very, where we sort of where we filmed it, we sort of did the trial there, and we didn't hit anything with our bows. I remember we were talking afterwards, Mike, and I don't know what the odds were of the number of misses that we had, but that lulled us into a little bit of a false sense of security by the second game. And then it was like a machine gun, just because we're cover. We don't need cover. We're not going. Oh dear, everyone's gone. I suppose so. Before, because what we'll do, we'll move on in a second and just have we'll have a little catch up. But I guess my question to you is: in the year and a half then since you've come on, have you found that Ruckus has taken over your hobby, your game, or are you still? We were talking about Napoleonics last time, and obviously I know you still, you bill hooks and you have your big armies. But have you found that this has taken over slightly, or have you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And part of it I don't mind. It's great. It's. I mean, I'm a very lucky man to be in this position where I can have my game published. And have people there who are publishing the game who support it so completely. Whatever I suggest for the game, they do. And that's a really lucky, privileged position. I know very well, because I've got friends who've published their own games, and I know how hard it's been for them to get them out there and to get the resources to get it published and then to get it distributed. I don't have to worry about any of that. So I'm very, very lucky and very happy to be in that position. But yes, it's taken over the gaming side of my life completely. And I'm usually in a rush to get some figures done for a retinue that I've built, or for an article that WI are doing. My mind drifts to it constantly and continuously, So when we're thinking about the next thing we're going to do, which I'm thinking about now, my mind is full of ideas for scenarios for that, and it's very difficult not to think about that. And I see something somewhere, I think, oh, we could use that, or oh, that's a great idea. We could build something around that for Ruckus, And I try not to read any other rules when I'm writing. Influenced, I've got a stack of new rules that I want to read, but I'm trying not to in case they influence me. And the only game I've had a look at in the last 18 months, really, is Soldiers of Napoleon, which I really like the look of, and I can't wait to play that. But I love
that game. I'm yet to get Dom to give it a try, but I love that game.
It did look fun. Did look really.
The reason I like it is because you can have the best laid plan and you hold on to this card, and you're like, this card is giving me 6 orders this turn, or it's got the grand cannonade ability on it. And then someone I've got to use this to rally my one pathetic unit, because if I don't, because victory points in that game are variable per unit. So this unit, when it's destroyed, could give away 6 victory points, or it might only give away 3. I can't risk it, so now I've got to play my card to do that when I could have done, launch Napoleon's grand attack.
It's game writing at its best, that game, I think, that set of rules. I think Warwick, who wrote it, who I met at Crackcon, I could sit down with that man all day. He's got a brilliant mind to think that up, because so much of that in there is original and new. And the idea of the cards, 3 or 4 different functions on the cards, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant concept.
It is, and it must have been a hard sell, because when I say that to people, and I say to them, there's these different functions, straight away they go, that's a lot of information, and you're saying yes, but only one of them is relevant. You only pick one. That's it. There's no. Don't get too hard. Just pick one, and then that's what you do. And what I love is there's actually a reason for the aid to comp models that we've all sat there making in this game, that you can actually play. You place them by who's received the orders. So because if you do stuff with them again, people get fatigued, and things
and
get
the units act like you think they should, don't they? There's limits on them, and they've got skills and things, and like cavalry can affect skirmishes this way, and all those things.
Yeah. And you can't form square automatically. as I say, I knew it was. I know it's going to come up, but yes, and I have said it. Squares are for chumps. Squares are for cowards.
Yeah, how's that working for you, Martin?
Not well, Dom. It's not gone well. And I knew Shakos would bring this up. There we go. Best non-World War II non-naval game ever. There we go. And then also, and yes, cheers. Squares are for chumps.
Squares are for chumps.
I will get that put on a t-shirt for you, James. What we'll do, we'll give Mike a breather for a second before we have a real look at what's coming, which I'm very excited about, and I know a lot of people are. And we're going to find out how many armies Dom has painted in the last week, because it was a bit of a light week for you last week, Dom. You kind of let the side down a little bit.
I've just come back from holiday, mate. Come on.
I know, but that's a perfect time to get something done, isn't it? When you're away.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Well, I've just stabbed myself with a brand new scalpel. Why is it whenever you put a new scalpel in your blade, you always stab yourself with it? Anyway, what have I been up to?
It's the sacrifice, isn't it? It's the sacrifice.
It's the blood sacrifice. It's been okay painting wise this week in terms of numbers, although it's actually only 2 sort of units I've done. We were having a game on Friday of another American Civil War game, and I realised I had some Zouaves to paint up, so I thought I'd do some Zouaves. So Confederate Zouave regiment.
Oh, very nice.
Really bashed out. I quite like doing them because they're so different. Obviously, even though they're Confederate, they're in the blue uniform, and it just because you do get a bit bored just doing the same colours all the time. So actually doing something slightly different is kind of cool.
Is that the correct shade of blue? Because
I'm sure Don will tell me not. So he'll tell me that anyway. So,
I love it. Yeah, look, Wargamer Kent straight away as well. Yes.
Wrong colour.
Okay. We'll find out. What rules were you using?
Black powder.
Black powder.
Yeah, black powder. I have to say, it wasn't the best game we've ever played. We tried to create a scenario, and when you try and adapt a game that isn't designed for that rule set, and then you're trying to work out exactly how it should run, it sort of didn't quite give the matchup we were hoping for. But it always looks good getting all the massive number.
Don says it is
acceptable. Wow, that's the nicest thing he's ever said.
Speaking of which, we've had a couple more people drop in. Paul has dropped in. You're right, Paul.
Evening,
How's
Paul.
it going, dude? And James has dropped in. I'll ask Mike when he pops back how he's doing. What else have you been up to?
The other thing, because I saw all the stuff coming out of the Warlords Open Day about the fact the Boer War supplement is on John Stannard's desk apparently at the moment, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to start doing some Boers because I bought some on eBay some time ago. So I did a load of Boers. 48
is that Empress or is that?
I don't know. I don't honestly know whose manufacturer they are. They look to me like they're probably First Core or someone like that, just by the sculpting. But I don't honestly know. They were just sold as. I bought about 90 odd Burr figures on an eBay sale, and this was what they are. So nice. I don't really know what they are, but they were good fun to do. I quite enjoyed doing them, and I've discovered a new, for me, a new wash which works beautifully with these. So Vallejo game wash. It's a dip, and they do a sepia one, and it gives that sort of lovely browny thing that you see in all the photographs of what the birds look like.
Nice.
So I use that extensively over them. It kind of worked nicely. So no idea how to base them, but judging by the pictures they had at the open day last year and this year, I think they're all individually based. So I went that route. So I hope that works. But yeah, so
they're great.
Yeah, it's a bit of fun, a bit different, and they're dead easy to paint because they're just fairly muted colours and so the sepia wash. So yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Is that it?
That's it. I mean, that's 48, 72 figures, mate. Come on, give me a break.
That's amateur numbers, isn't it? I've done 3 models.
Right, so you're going to start giving me a hard time.
which I did today. I don't. I'm getting blind doing all these buildings along with Robin. I don't want to paint another pissing building again. Anywhere else. I feel like I know. I've only been to St Albans a few times, but I tell you what, I know my way around it. More medieval St Albans. I couldn't find my way around the modern town. If a medieval town was there, I'll be absolutely fine. I built a base just on the off chance that we don't have a base. David, I think, is bringing a base with him, but just in case there was any issues, I of course in our game, our second Battle of St Albans game, we need to have Henry VI. You know, he was basically kept under a tree with two guards, one of which was Bonneville and can't remember the name of the other one. It didn't end well for either of them. Thomas Kyril. They're 2 sort of veteran knights, and they were left with him. And then a 7-year-old decided to have them executed after the battle. So I decided that we needed a base. So I had the Athena miniatures, Henry VI kicking around, which is based on the picture of him at Northampton. And there's mention, I can't remember which source it is, but I'm pretty sure there was I'm probably making this up, but I'm sure there was a source that said that Henry was sort of looked like the king and Warwick had him there. So there he is with his crown and his 2 guards. Nice. What was quite nice is that my miniatures, the Ragged Staff ones, scale quite nicely with the Athena one. I was quite pleased about that. So there they are. That's Thomas Kyril at the front. There he is.
Are you going to do one of the 2 knights being executed? To sort of finish off.
I'll get some snips. And then after the battle, we can just we can just remove him. But he will take a key role in the battle. There might be some situations involving Henry, but other than that, it's basically just been getting ready for Crackcon. As you know, we've had a lot of merchandise orders. We've had a lot of donations for the raffle. So big thank you to everybody who has donated. It's going to be a big raffle, and there are some of the best prizes we've ever had. I'm not going to spoil them, but there is some fantastic stuff coming. See, look, it's not just me. Look, Dom slacking, just 72. So Red Steph says he feels the same about the fences. I'm assuming that's because they've got their big Gettysburg game, and they've probably painted 500 meters worth of 15 mil.
So everybody's on the last push.
Yeah, so
there's nothing like a deadline of an event to make you get on and get everything finished. I don't have to finish.
I know. I am in that thing though, where it's like I'm not quite sure what I want to paint next. Although I did just see this comment from Paul Mike, which I think he said he's sitting here looking at his Ruckus boxes with an evil laugh and twiddling his mustache. And Mike, you just stepped away, but James Moggs is here. He says hello. He just wanted to. He's popped in.
Hi James, how you doing? His Agincourt looked very nice, didn't it? Over Partisan, I didn't get to over Partisan, but the pictures.
It did, yes. I liked it.
Agincourt looked fantastic, I thought.
The video
I like
coming out of that. Just I really must do Partisan one year, but there's no way. Mrs. Cook is very good and lets me do lots of things, but the idea of going there the week before Crackcon is just not going to happen. So.
It's not going to fly, is it? No. I did like his ploughed field. Of course, James is going to be at Crackcon next week. Not with his ploughed field, but with his Troy, I believe.
Oh, nice.
Slightly different, but no, I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, let's hope. Portugal salutes you. Fantastic. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much. Someone just said they want Dom to feel good about himself. Oh, it's Dom. I think sorry. I just wanted you to feel good.
That's about the blue. I think he's just letting me have one for a moment there.
And so I'm looking forward to not painting a well, if you will take on these silly things.
Thank you, Rogue Trooper.
He has a real good way of Rogue Trooper, doesn't he? Of just, just cutting through everything. Makes you feel good. Right. So let's spin back round to Mike. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mike hasn't been idle in the background and just focus. There's been lots of additions to Ruckus. You've had the mounted stuff, you've had the Robin Hood, there's been the peasant stuff. But you have a new it's not a new version, it's an addition to the Ruckus family of rules, and it's very much its own thing, isn't it? I'll let you take it away. I'll let you tell everybody what you've got coming, and it's quite exciting. It's quite different.
Well, it is a new version of Ruckus, really. I mean, it's the rules are the same. Basically, the basic rules are still there, and they're still the same. But it concerns a different period. It's a much earlier period. We're looking at the Levant. We're looking at Palestine, really, in the late 12th century. And we're looking at one very, very small theatre there. And we're looking at the ongoing war between the Assassins and the Templars at that period of time. So, which is a fascinating period, really, because these two groups are not like any other groups in history, really. They're both fanatics. The Assassins and the Templars, both of them were fanatical warrior monks who took no quarter and they gave no quarter. They didn't expect to survive any of the battles they went into, so they went in with no fear. And
it's like when we play war games, I don't expect to survive anything we're going to.
Normally, but there you go.
You get the morale rules, So it just focuses on that one thing, really. And the lovely thing about the Ruckus rules is they're very adaptable. You can use them for all kinds of periods, really. I think any period of warfare where melee is the major way of doing harm, Ruckus will work for. That hand-to-hand thing is the important thing with it. And so you've got two retinues there, two very different retinues. The Assassins are real extremists. These are the Nizari Shiite Muslims, a little sect of Muslim Shiite Muslims that were founded in 1090 by Hassan Isaba, who was this eccentric, fanatical man who had them doing physical exercises from first thing in the morning to last thing at night and teaching them martial arts until they were deadly, deadly killers. And they rose to power for infiltrating castles in the region and taking over these places by fear, really. They could do their politics by fear, that people were so frightened that they would be killed that they would just give in and do what the Assassins wanted. And the ones that didn't were killed. That's how they were. They were absolutely brutal. And they were opposed. They opposed a lot of people, but the Templars were the direct opposite of them in many ways, in the fact that they were very Christian. And other than that, they had a great deal in common. They were fanatics who trained at their military arts. There were two things in their lives: they were fighting and God, and that was it. And everything else was subdued to that, And there's a lot of myths and legends about the Templars now, about their great wealth and these kind of cult things that went on with them, none of which has ever been proven. The reality is that they lived in poverty. These were very poor men. Their organization became very rich, but they still had to live in poverty. They weren't allowed to have possessions as such. And they spent all their time praying and training with their weapons until they were extremely good at what they did. And one thing I didn't really know about them so much was the fact, they've got a deadly charge like all knights had at this time, but theirs was actually controlled and restrained, and they could charge again, which very few knights have ever been able to achieve.
Interesting.
Because they were so
very well disciplined, weren't they?
And of course,
as you say, from the training they did, they weren't like other knights that just went charging off into the distance. They were trained to charge in the formation and then come back.
Exactly, and they often came from that background of privilege, but they put it to one side, and so they were extremists of the worst possible kind, worst and best possible kind, really. And I learned pretty much everything. So how this started was that there's a professor of history, Steve Tibble, who's I think is a fantastic historian. I've always liked his books. Who got in contact with Dan, the editor of Wargames Illustrated, and said that he thought this was a great concept for a game, and how would he go about it? And Dan put him in touch with me, and I said, "Oh yeah, we can use Ruckus for that."
Amazing.
And I pretty much wrote it in a day. And once we, once we'd worked it through, and I sent it back to Steve, and he liked it. He thought, "Yeah, that works." And then we discussed it back with Dan, and Dan said, "Yeah, we're going to do this." And that's how the game was born. I haven't worked with Dan before at Wargames Illustrated, and it was an education because he's a miracle worker as an editor. He's a real wizard because he managed to take the 8 pages of mounted character rules for Ruckus and fit them into the 32 pages of Ruckus that already exist and still make a 32-page booklet. And I still don't quite know how he did it. And I keep saying, "You must have missed this, you must have missed," but I can't find things in there that are missing. We had to change a few of the Ruckus concepts and ideas to make this work. But it does work, and it works very, very well. And what
was it difficult? Because Ruckus is such a broad, covers such a broad, or potentially covers pretty much anything across the medieval period, doesn't it? So now you're focusing very much on a moment in time with two very different sort of armies. Was that tricky to do?
Not really, because I think the system is so adaptable. But what we did was we took out a significant part of the Ruckus game, which is the development side of it. So these characters don't develop. They come in fully formed with their skills at the beginning of the game. And so the difference with this game is it is a standalone game, but only allows you to play Assassins and Templars. You couldn't play any other kind of theatres or retinues with this. You can only play Assassins and Templars. So that enabled us to concentrate just on those 2 retinues and make them very specialised and give them skills that are specific to them that other retinues don't have. You couldn't play the Assassins or the Templars against any other retinue, I don't think, because these retinues are very, very weighted. They're very, very hard. And the 2 retinues differ in such that the Assassins are lightly armoured, highly skilled and very dangerous. And they have a special skill called hujum, which is Arabic for attack. And basically what happens is if they don't mishap doing it, then they get to do a free
big
attack.
ask sometimes. That's a big ask sometimes.
It's a big ask. Well, it's bigger than you think, and I'll tell you why. Because so hujum is a free attack, basically. So you get a free round of melee against your opponent without them being able to strike back, if you don't mishap. Now, if you're the Fides Sheikh, that's the captain of the Assassins, a fully trained, hardened, totally skilled assassin, he rolls 1 dice for his mishap. But if you're an ordinary Fides, the next layer down, what would be a squire in Ruckus, he has to roll 2 dice when he does his hujum. So he's got double the chance of rolling a mishap. And then you've got the novice, the poor old novice assassins, who have to roll 3 dice when they attempt their hujum. And if they fail it, they have a mishap. And the mishap is their knife has got caught up in their robe, or they've dropped it on the floor. So this guy's crept up to his enemy, and then he goes to pull his knife out, and it flies off across the room, and he's stood at that. Well, sorry, mate, and suffers the obvious consequences.
Love it.
Or you could have a calamity, which is even worse. But I'm not going to give that away right now.
We know that the calamities are. I mean, the thing is as well with Ruckus, there's sort of, as things happen and as situations evolve on the battlefield, you can interpret those calamities as whatever you like, really, can't you? In a way, I mean, there's a set sort of means, but if have they tripped over the wall? Have they gone over the wall and tripped themselves up, or narratively has the guy got his scabbard caught between his legs, and he can't draw his sword? Exactly. One of my favorite, it's always the movement gambits. It's always the calamities on the movement gambits. Brave.
That mishap calamity system is the ever big mechanic from Ruckus, isn't it? Really, I think that and the melee system are the two things that make it different from other games, or at least give it its different aspect to its game. So the other thing that assassins have is they have the ability to avoid hits in melee. So when you try and hit them, there's a chance that you just won't, because he's dodged it, he's moved out of the way, which is a slightly different aspect to the melees. And assassins have poisoned blades, which only really helps for their first attack, because after that the poison rubs off. And they pay no penalty from changing from missile to melee weapon, because they're very skilled. Whereas in Ruckus, of course, if you're using a bow or a crossbow, you have to put it away and get your sword out before you can evolve in hand-to-hand. The assassins don't have to do that. They just chuck it down and they're gone. And they're very skilled horsemen. So when they're mounted, they've got extra skills again, which come in to help them play. And the Templars are very much more along the lines of the standard kind of Ruckus retinues, really, but much tougher. They're very good fighters. That's what they dedicated their life to. And this is reflecting their skills. So they're quite hard to hurt. They're thick-skinned. They've got an asset called thick-skinned, which means they count as one armor level better than they would do just from that armor. And they don't feel the effects of wounds. They have battle fury. So once they get going, you can wound them as much as you like, and it will kill them eventually, but it doesn't affect their ability to hurt you. And so they as you know, in Ruckus, if you're wounded, you lose one of the attacks that you can normally use. The Templars don't get that. They're real idiots, real fanatics. And when they're mounted, they have powerful charge, which means they re-roll any misses. And they have the equestrian skill, so it makes them better at riding, really. They're less likely to fall off when they jump anything, and less likely to get mishaps when they attack. So all round, both these retinues are super hard Ruckus retinues, really, that evolved just for this one game.
It sounds like there's sort of flavour, if you're focusing that much and you haven't got to cast that wide net, as Don was saying, you can really drill down in and make these things, very individual in turn and special. You called it RPG Light, and I think that's about right. It's what Dan Falconbridge, the editor of Wargames Illustrated, calls micro skirmishing, and I think both those terms kind of apply, really. It's not quite D&D, but it certainly isn't the big battlefield scenario either. No. And then you've got many new characters in this as well. So you've got the Turcopoles, which literally meant sons of Turks, which were a lighter horseman, really, that the Templars used. And initially these were Turks, or the sons of Turks, but eventually they became Christian warriors who just wore the same gear as the Turks did, and they could use a lance or a bow, so they've got their own horse archer elements. They're not quite as good as the actual Turkic warriors, the horse archers, but they've got some of it. And then you've got the chaplain as well, who's got certain special skills of his own, because it reflects the religious nature of what's going on. And then with the assassins, you've got the 3 different levels of assassin, and then you've got the cultists, which are usually armed with spears or with bows, and they're pretty standard kind of Ruckus characters, really. And those guys are all subject to morale, but the actual assassins and the actual Templars are fearless. And of course, there weren't very many assassins, really. They only ever numbered in hundreds, and there weren't very many Templars. And of any Christian force in the Crusades, the Templars never formed more than about 10% of it. And of that Templar force, the Templars only formed about 10%.
So 1% of the whole of the Christian forces were Templars. So in this game, in Ruckus itself, there is only one Templar. He's the Templar Knight. There are 2 Templar brothers who would like to become Templar Knights. And then you've got the Turcopoles, and then you've got spearmen and crossbows to back them up.
Okay.
So you've only really got one Templar in the retinue. And,
okay, no, I like that. That's an interest. That's it. Really, I'm fascinated by the way this is the way that you've collaborated with the historian with Stephen Tiller.
Yeah,
it should say, because he has a book out at the moment, hasn't he, on Assassins and Templars, and we've actually got, because you sent me and I managed to upload it. It actually worked. We've got this little trailer for his book, and this is actually out now. And this, so I encourage you. I've actually got this, but I've been told I'm not allowed to buy it because someone wants to buy it for me for Christmas. So. That's very effective.
It's every bit as good. It's every bit as good as they say it is. Because when we got this concept together and we started chatting, Steve sent me the print for it before it was printed.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And so I was able to read the book before it came out, and I've already made 2 scenarios from the events in the book. So some of the scenarios you're going to be seeing coming up for Wargames Illustrated are taken directly from this book and directly from history. It's a cracking read. I mean, he's one of these authors that brings history to life, and it's like reading a novel. It's like fiction. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, because he's done other books on the Templars, and that's what. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you would say he's a wargamer, right?
Yeah. He's a wargamer, so he writes from that perspective. So the kind of questions you want to have answered and the things you would like to know about these guys, he writes about. And I highly recommend his book Crusader Armies, because it's exactly the history that wargamers want to read. When he talks about a battle, there are really nice maps in there. He describes it in an expert way, and he writes about the aspects of that battle that you really want to know if you're thinking about wargaming it. So yeah, he's great. It's another friend I've made, and I gotta say, I'm flattered really to have somebody like that in my life. And having read his books, I can highly recommend them to anybody.
Well, did that put a lot more pressure on you, having somebody? And we as wargamers, we all kind of get to know periods quite well, and we think we know the history pretty well, but actually have a genuine historian sort of almost critiquing what you want to do. Did that kind of intimidate a bit, or was how much interference did he go, oh no, that would never happen, or did he really let you get on?
Not at all, because his underlying bit is, well, nobody really knows, do they? And
right. And you weren't there, were you? I remember hearing that somewhere.
and he's a historian that quotes Monty Python, so he's got a sense of humour.
Oh, that's good.
And we got on like a house on fire. He's a lovely man, and he's not a bit, he's a professor of history, but he's not all that. He's a nice bloke who likes war games. And the funny thing is, I was kind of in awe of meeting him, because I've always had this almost unhealthy appreciation of academia, particularly historians. But he felt the same about meeting somebody who writes war games, because he's got practically every war game that's ever been printed. But he says, I couldn't possibly write one of these things. I don't know how you do it. And so, we kind of met as equals, I think, really.
That's really that's really nice. I really like that.
We've met at Wargames Illustrated, which is a very friendly place. If there's anywhere in the world that's going to put you at ease, it's that place going in there. Because it's also
you did send me a picture. I want to put this up. This is you, Dan and Steve. There you go, having a that's one for the album, isn't it? That's a cool. That's a cool picture. What an awesome picture. I should actually just before, because I've had a couple of just a quick question, which I've kept some questions for later, and typically I've lost it. There it is. Just in case any people don't know, Jared said the number of minis are on the map. I'm assuming the board. So Ruckus, the original Ruckus, OG Ruckus, is 12 miniatures aside would be a standard game with maybe a few peasants and the odd sheep or something on the board, but essentially 12 aside. Is that the same in this case?
Absolutely. We haven't changed that at all. It doesn't seem to need changing at the moment. You can have, talk about Ruckus itself is very adaptable. We've played with up to, I think, about 50 figures on a side. As long as you've got enough players to play those figures, it works, but it gets much slower. The more heroes you have in a deck, the longer it takes to play a game. And I find that 8 heroes is about right, really. If you go much above that, you've got too many. It will slow it right down. But as long as you can put them into spears, 8 players is fine. Above that's a bit too high. And Assassins and Templars, it's just the standard. You just have 12 on a side.
Yeah.
Easy to do for anyone. It's very
and that's one of the great things. And this is and I'm a big proponent of this. Dom's going to roll his eyes at me now because I don't like points. I don't know if anyone knows that.
You've never mentioned
Never mentioned it before. But I do think it's very refreshing because but I do understand the need for them, and I do understand the point in them, the point in points. I do understand the point, and I understand the need. But I've really just narrative gameplay to me is just so much fun, and you kind of built into the Ruckus system. It's quite open, and I think in some ways. And this isn't certainly not a criticism because I was introducing a couple of people to it, and they were saying, "Well, what do I take?" I was like, "Well, we're going to draw some cards, and we're randomly going to assign abilities." So what? Yep, that's what we're going to do, and it's going to be awesome. And that's where you end up with the character with the longbow who's brilliant in close combat, or the or something else. But what I'm trying to, I think what I'm just trying to say is it's worth having a go at you. The model count isn't huge. Obviously, people have got collections. If you play Saga or these other medieval games, you're going to have models as well. We'll come on to models in a minute. But if you want to try Ruckus out, you've probably got stuff in your collection to give it a go. Yeah. And as it's initially anyway, it's free in Assassins and Templars. It's going to be free in Wargames Illustrated.
Absolutely, right? 455 November's issue. It'll be out in the shops on the 1st of November. The official launch is on the 20th of October.
Right. We will put a reminder up in the group to remind people on that. The comments are going. I've started a lot of comments. There seems to be a lot of. This is bringing out a lot of interest from people, especially people who like Assassin's Creed. So they want to try.
I tell you why there's no points in there. Is because. I've never played a game system with points where everybody's happy with it. Any game system you care to think of, and the one I can think of directly would be Middle-earth strategy battle game. There are characters in there that no one ever plays because it costs more points than they're worth because they're just not that good. And there are characters in there that everybody buys because they're overpowered. They work much better than the points should do for what they're paying. And so I think point systems are arbitrary. I have not seen one game system yet which really uses a scientific method for working out what points a character or a unit should be. And so I think they're arbitrary, so why use them? And there's not one battle or skirmish or war or event or conflict any time in history where both sides were completely equal and everything was balanced and fair. It just doesn't happen. So why would you want to recreate that? And I think people get tied up in the idea of this very gamey thing of going by the points, really. So trying to build an all defeating army. You ain't going to get that in Ruckus, not at all. That just doesn't happen.
No, the biggest thing that defeats my army is myself. Absolutely. No, absolutely. You've very kindly sent us some pictures here, which I think you said we can share these.
Yes, you can.
Which no one else has seen. So
that's right.
So
and I've interviewed Dan about this to find out exactly what's coming because I don't know what's in the launch entirely until I've spoken to him. So as you put the pictures up, if you like, I can tell you what's.
Yeah. Well, let's. let's start with the miniatures because people love miniatures.
Yep. Okay.
So I'm going. Well, first of all, I've actually just realised that you've. I'll come on to this in a second, actually, but I'll pop this one up. So look at these chaps. How cool are they? So these are lovely. Now these have been sculpted for the game, right?
That's right.
That's right. So cool.
These are going to be giants in miniature, so they'll be available through Wargames Illustrated. These were sculpted initially by Matthew Bickley, who did the
Ed sold. He's done. Yeah. There we go.
He did Antediluvian. He did some Footsore, didn't he? And he works for quite a few people, Matthew Bickley. So, he's got pedigree. These will be sold through Giants in Miniature. And these represent squires from each, really. So you've got, going from the left, you've got a Templar squire, then you've got an assassin, Fides, and then another assassin Fides, and then a squire on the end. Now, the one on the end is based on a French knight called Walter. Excuse me, completely forgotten his name. Who only had one eye, and he was a complete maniac Templar who one day just strode into a castle full of Muslims on his own and just started killing people. And they were terrified of him, and they were jumping off of battlements and running away. And there wasn't much that he wouldn't take on. And the sculptor decided, well, if he's got one eye, why would he need two slots in his helmet? So he's designed this with only one eye.
That's a lovely touch. Well, you've got him here. He's on the cover there, isn't he?
Yeah.
There he is.
And
I mean, he does look brutal. He just looks brutal.
He does, yeah. The cover is based on the figures, of course.
Yes, that's what I just realised is going on. I only just realised that you've got the figures here and the cover here. I only just put two and two together. No, they are so full of character, and what I like about them, I think, especially with the Templars, there is a big preconception about what they look like and how they act, and obviously a lot of that comes down to the media that surrounds it all. But I really like this. I don't want to use the term stripped back, but grounded, is that a better term? Like they look like they're not maybe not the guy with the axe is having fun, but the other one looks a little bit he's here we go again. And then the assassins as well. Is that the sneaky guy's got an eye patch?
Yes.
Is that
Yeah, it's not immediately obvious, but he's got an eye patch. So there's only 6 eyes here between these 4 people. They've only got 6 eyes.
Love it.
Oh, that's.
I love painting these. They were great fun to paint, and I was lucky. I had the privilege of getting the first ones, so I was, drop everything and paint these straight away.
That's so cool. I mean, again, in our last conversation, which was 18 months ago on the stream, we were talking about how you've gone for you made making these rules and doing rules that you want to play. It does actually look a little bit like Ken, to be fair. It does. Ken can't move that quick. Not unless there's if there's something for free, he can.
Oh, he'll be like lightning then. Yeah.
Guillaume de Sonac.
That's the guy.
There you go.
Like Guillaume. That's it. But obviously we talked about it, let's say, a little bit before. Primarily, I'd say you like tinkering with rules and you're a gamer, but how does it feel? Because certainly from my perspective, and having been chatting to you for a few years now, you've gone from this kind of sort of gamer rules writer who's now having miniatures made on his like, how does that feel?
It feels fantastic. I mean, it's just incredible, isn't it? It's it makes me feel so privileged, really, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful place to be, really. I'm a very lucky man, very fortunate man, really, and I know that. I appreciate it no end. And to have them from a sculptor that you really admire as well is something else, isn't it? It's a wonderful thing.
Lovely. Well, keeping with the miniatures, there's additional support for the miniatures as well. So this isn't just sort of like, here's a few miniatures. And go and sort out the rest yourselves. If you want to get into Assassins and Templars, and you could basically get into this, buy it, and you've got a game, right? You wouldn't have
absolutely,
beyond that, but you've got this on board. You've got this coming as well. Hang on a second, let me just close that. Oh, where are we? Here we are. So,
yep,
Gripping Beast. They're releasing Medi-Raid retinues.
Yeah. So this is this was lovely when they told me about this. I wasn't expecting this at all, and it was absolutely delightful when they told me this was happening. So these are going to be available from Gripping Beast, probably around about the 20th of October. I imagine it'd be the same kind of launch date. The Templars set there that you see there are all metal figures from the Gripping Beast range, and including the giants and miniature figures that you've already seen. And the Assassins set there are a mix of plastic and metal figures, and again include the metal giants and miniature ones that you've already seen. And I imagine you'd be able to, I don't know if you can get those from Wargames Illustrated, or you have to get them straight from Gripping Beast.
That's so cool. I and that's a lot of, I mean, I saw Dom prick his ear. He heard all metal, and Dom's ears went.
Oh yeah, that had me winning straight away.
That's it. I mean, what a fantastic. I don't know. It's just no. I think that's awesome.
You are living the dream, aren't you? Really are.
I am living. I am living the dream. If I won the lottery, this is the kind of thing you'd be spending it on. And I don't.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. No, you've got someone else to do it. I'd be just spending sculpting the toys for me. You've got someone else to do it for you. We need to have a chat about the next one, and all of us will combine. What is it we want? Actually, I feel
I'm the only one on this stream at the moment that doesn't have figures made for him, but they.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll have to have a chat. I don't know what you would get made. What would you get made for you though, Dom, if you were going to do something?
I'm bouncing around so many periods. It's very difficult, isn't it? I don't know.
That's the problem, isn't it? So I want I'm doing the samurai in a minute. So
doing the samurai at the moment, and then next week I want this, and then
I wanted to do a. I was looking at one of the figures I wanted to get done, and I suddenly, because I was doing all this stuff to do with the Saxons and the Normans, I was like, I want a really good Hereward the Wake figure. I want a proper, because he was, because the ones that are out there's some nice figures out there, but the guy was basically a psycho. And he lived in the marsh, and Dom does want badgers. He does want more badgers.
Okay.
You imagine?
You're
Can't
right.
blame him, can you? Can't blame him.
Yeah, that wins.
He absolutely does. So no, that was the thing I was looking at. But then I'll look at something else. Like when I was doing the Gallic Wars, you remember we said, maybe I'll get a Vercingetorix done. And then you just think, no, do you know what? This is all just. At the end of the day,
the problem. You start thinking that way, and suddenly you've got plans for about 20 different models that are all one-offs. And no, I'm happy.
So we've got the supplement coming out with Wargames Illustrated next month, and Dave, so where have I put mine? So this was the 32-page supplement from the first one, which is look, there you are. I hope there's the equivalent there. So that's very cool. But you've sent us some pictures of that, which is really cool. The layout looks awesome.
That's really good. Yeah,
really clear.
They've done a splendid job, haven't they?
Clear.
This is
very cool.
This will be available from the 20th of October from Wargames Illustrated. You can buy it on its own at $5.99, or you can buy issue 455 in November with the rules attached for free.
I mean, to be fair, either way, I mean, $5.99 is, for a set of rules that that's bloody good.
It's the price of a figure in some places, isn't it? You've got you've also got the cards as well. Of course, there's a whole new set of cards to go with this. And as you're familiar with Ruckus, you understand the cards by now. Be a whole new set of diverse alarms.
This was right. So this was going to be one of my questions for this. Now, the Divers Alarmers cards are. I can't actually say what I call them because they never. my stream will get taken down. But these are the Divers Alarmers cards here that you have. So here you'll have things, for example, so for the people who are watching who don't know, you'll get things like this saying, blessed by Providence. Play this card when any friendly character suffers a wound. A religious amulet, a small prayer book, or a lucky talisman basically turns the point of the weapon aside, preventing one wound. So and I never get this bloody card. I never get this. Robin gets it, and I've spent ages, and I'm like, right, here we go, and we have that back and forth combat. You got them down to the final wound, and then they play that. And the Bible stops them. This is the one that gets me. Ambush. Place D3+3 ambushes in any area of hard going, unless the scenario states otherwise. They are peasants and they join your retinue. So suddenly you can have like 6 peasants jumping out of the building and attacking it. It's just full of flavor. You can have a sudden rain shower, and in the game we were playing, where we came up with this idea that you were trying to set fire to the barns, and then the rain would come out, and you've set fire to it. You've got your objectives, but then the rain starts, and it puts out all the fires, and you've got to go back again to go and set everything back on fire. It stops being then about. I mean, don't get me wrong, winning and losing. Winning is nice, but again, it's about just having a great game and just creating.
Writing a story, isn't it? It's writing a story, isn't it?
And you can talk about it and have a laugh afterwards.
And it feels like things that might actually happen, doesn't it? You know, tripping over your sword and this kind of thing. My favourite Diverse Alarmus is, oh gosh, what's it called? Oh, goodness. What is this base trumpery? Where you get to trump the other leader or the hero. I think that's one of my favourites. But anyway, we've got different Diverse Alarm cards for Assassins and Templars. The first 6 are pretty much the same. Shit happens.
Robin's got shit happens cards. Yes,
Robin's got it right.
Yeah.
So they're slightly different. I mean, for a start, you can't have a sudden rainstorm in the desert, so that's changed. I think that might have become sandstorm. I think I can't actually remember now, to be honest. But there are more desert themed kind of cards, and also there's a set of rules whenever you're playing outside as opposed to in buildings. There's a set of rules which are called the accursed hellhole rules.
Okay.
Oh, so it's basically accursed hellhole rules, and you roll a dice to see what happens. And on a 1, it's always on a 1. Anything but a 1. You roll a 1, then you have to roll on the accursed hellhole table, and anything could be one of your characters has seen a mirage and ran off to see what it is, or it could be
brilliant.
It could be a what do you call it? Little sand desert wizard thing. What do you call these things? I forgot what they're called now.
Sand desert.
Out in the desert, like little tiny tornado things.
Yeah, whirlwind type things.
Yeah, I forgot what's called sand devil or something like that. Anyway, those kind of things happen in there. And thirst, people can get thirsty. And so there's all kind of things like that can happen as well as the Diverse Alarm cards. And that is published in the magazine. So magazine 455, November's issue, is pretty much an Assassins and Templars issue. So there's an article in there by Steve Tibble, which is going over the history of the Assassins and the Templars.
Oh, perfect.
Then there's a short interview with Steve about his book. And then there's a guide to painting Assassin and Templar figures, written by somebody who wrote the Ruckus rules, some old bloke. And then there's an article on Battlefield Essentials, which is what Dan Falconbridge has written. I haven't seen it yet, which is about what figures are available and where to buy terrain and stuff for playing in the desert. And then there's a scenario in there as well, the Ambassador scenario, which is based on an historical event from Steve's book. And then there's going to be online content from the 20th of October too. There's going to be videos. We've made quite a few videos with some tutorial stuff in there, and mostly just discussions about the rules and that kind of thing. And also there's going to be some new scenarios going online too. And one of them is called The Lord of Mosul, and it's based on the assassination of a chap called Al-Bazuki, who was a giant of a man. He was a huge, great big bloke, huge, great armor, surrounded by bodyguards. And it's one of the classic fights of the Assassin's history when they took this guy out. And so that's in their scenario too.
Oh, fantastic. So it's not it sounds like it's a bumper release. You know, it's not just here's a leaflet of rules. Go and do it. You know, with the support of the miniatures and the content online, and obviously, I know through the Facebook group, everything, the amount of support that you put into your rules. If people decide to go and get into this, there's going to be quite a lot to get their teeth into quite quickly, by the sounds of it.
there's a whole package. And the Facebook group is very good. And if any question gets asked in there is answered almost immediately. And there's a whole lot of resources in there too. There's a lot of files in there.
It's a very encouraging group and friendly group. We talk about Facebook groups, naming no names, apart from the one that Ken got banned from because he went in there and deliberately wound them up by painting the wrong coloured epaulets on a Napoleonic figure to wind them up on purpose. It's a very friendly group and very, very welcoming, and it is refreshing. So I have linked the Facebook group down below, guys. So if you're not a member and you want to check it out, go down there and check it out. You'll also find a link to the Wargames Illustrated page as well, and you'll find a link to Mike's blog, which is I've spent many hours going through your blog, and that's where I got your avatar picture from, because you made that awesome Edward IV conversion on there. So do go and check those out. What I'd like to do, I think what we'll do, because I've got questions. There are questions in the chat. If we have a little break, do some news. There isn't loads of news because most of the news is really talking about Ruckus, to be fair. So we'll give you a breather for a second, but we'll do some news. Dom, do I have to put on the horrible music?
No, we can.
No, we're not going to do it. Why do we still do that? Ken's on the stream.
Contractually forced to do it by Steve. He loves that tune. He loves it more than he loves the Smith. It's really into it. So that's why we do it. Keep him happy. But since he's not here, we can go away without it.
There we go. Just pretend you heard it. It is still better than that really sinister music that was like the Crime Watch music that we did. So that was much better. What have you seen out in the wild, Dom?
Start off with Eureka Miniatures. They've got some new 15 mils Afghan troops for. I guess it could be against the Americans or against the Soviets in
cool.
In the mountains there, and they look suitably rugged. And there's a kid there with an AK-47 at the top right, but the rest of them all look fairly old veterans there. So that's for those doing that kind of period. Not my thing particularly, but they're really nice models, I must admit. Eureka did some good stuff as well. Don't often get the audits they deserve. Your favourite, Martin?
Recon God, yeah, I was chatting about this. So he's doing a whole series of this. This is Robert the Bruce killing to Bowen, isn't it?
It is.
And he's the reason. So obviously he captures motion so well in his miniatures. And his attention to detail, but also his historical research. He went on such a little journey doing the research for this to try and work out, because it's quite. I think the actual encounter between the two of them is written by a couple of chroniclers, and I think they more or less agree on what happened. But he's trying to work it out. I saw him on a couple of armor groups talking about how would the blow of realistically how can he do this, and then he's put it into that model. So yeah, it's cool. But he's doing a couple more. Like this as well. I think he's planning on. Obviously, you don't have to have the two of them together, but that is lovely.
It goes. He's what I like is that he's switching between doing sort of what we as wargamers would want as units, and these sort of mini diorama type groups, and I think it works really nicely. So, very very impressive sculpting, very good indeed, as we know. Also, Empress. Put out some new Covenanter figures, 28mm metals. I just like Empress figures. They're really cool, really really good indeed.
I've got some Empress stuff to paint up at the minute. I'm sort of halfway through.
Yeah, and we know that obviously the Mr. Hicks's upcoming Arnhem Kickstarter, or Hickstarter as they're calling it, coming in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll show the pictures of that once it's they're all over Facebook if you're interested in it, but there's some amazing stuff coming up very soon as well for those. And the other one I saw was really for Steve and me. This is another.
Oh no, I like that as well. That's excellent. That's excellent.
That's a proper badger, that one.
That is really cool. Very, very nice.
Really, really.
Okay, no, that's
yeah, that's what I've seen so far. What about you?
I've only seen a couple of things. I saw this, funny enough, from Gripping Beast, and I don't really know a lot about it, but this is that 0 Hour World War One game. Now, it's a shame this should have been 2 weeks ago. Alex would have been on the channel.
Would have been,
but yeah. So this is I don't think it's out. I think this is up for pre-order.
I think it's on pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is on there. So you can go on there, and they've got some bundles on there as well, depending on the forces that you want to represent. I've got to say, unfortunately, I don't know very much about the game itself. However, I was looking at a load of the pictures, and I guess that sort of does what it says on the tin for World War One. Although Alex would shout at me for saying that. Yeah, so that's on the horizon from Gripping Beast. We were next thing I saw, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about Carnivale. Was it the TT Combat skirmish game set in Venice with?
Oh yeah.
Well, they've got a new starter set out, and I like showing this because I just liked that thing at the back, in the back right that looks. I liked it, but yeah, I like their miniatures. I think they're quite characterful. I don't know anything about the game. It's not very good news week, is it, for me? I don't know anything about the first game I've shown. I know
You've
nothing
really
about
done your
this
research, so well done this week.
Yeah. I just like the miniatures. I thought they were quite cool. But another one that I've seen is now we talked about this, but this is Crooked Dice and their 7TV franchise game. And they release different things. They've just released their Totally Not Robin of Sherwood set. They've got some models as well. But so that's on there with all the cards and the supplement, all the cards you need. I believe there's even Herne the Hunter in there. So you can get your Clanad album out, whack that on and play this. But also, there's a Ruckus expansion with Robin Hood as well. So there's no reason you can't double up the miniatures. So there you go, and then all of a sudden Enya finds sales of her album going up. Really interesting. Zero. It's been on the show circuit for a while. I'll have to check it out. I must have seen it at shows.
According to their website, it is a battalion scale game, battalion level engagements of around 100 models on a 6x4 table. There you go.
Oh, there we go. Excellent.
It says on the website, and it is on pre-order at the moment.
Excellent. Well, in terms of our news, so we have a couple of announcements, all of which are to do with Crackcon, which is if you are coming to Crackcon, thank you. But if you're coming to Crackcon and you've ordered any of the merchandise and you're staying the night before and you want to collect that, I believe there's a post on the Facebook group that my dear wife has put up, and you can find out how to get the stuff if you want it early. If not, you can collect it on the way in. I've had a request from Haley and then by extension Jill, who are on the doors, to, when you turn up, even if you're running a game, please make sure you sign in with them so they can tick you off the list, give you your wristband, and make sure they know you're there, and then they know everything that's going on. Otherwise, they will just come around and hunt you down.
They will hunt
the store. They will hunt you down, and there'll be a penance of buying raffle tickets. So there we go. Everyone who's coming, if you're coming on the Friday night, we obviously you're under no obligation to come and hang out with us. We understand you might not.
You may have enough of us on the Saturday, so you don't have to.
Yeah. We are meeting over at the Old Bell Hotel from about 7:30. People start drifting in, and we've got their Tudor bar, we've got the Tudor room solely for ourselves from 8 o'clock. Now I don't believe they don't really do food there, so we always recommend you can get food somewhere else. Just go get some food somewhere, wherever you like. There's lots of nice places to eat in Derby. Mike knows a few places. I know he does. He's and we found a good one last year down by the river actually, which was quite nice. But we're going to be in there from 8 o'clock. We're going to be having some drinks. I dare say there'll be some board games as well. Ken's going to do a quiz outside the Tudor bar, which is a PCP themed quiz. I have no idea. We have no input.
We've had no involvement in this at all. I think it's sanctioned, Martin, by us or not. I don't think so.
We sanctioned him doing it. I haven't sanctioned any of the questions, and I'm a bit worried about the answers. Shaker said it was the Silk Mill that we went to. That was the food there was good. You could get a trio of pies.
Oh, was that the one down by the bus station?
I don't know.
Obviously wasn't that one.
It was near a river. Okay,
that's the one.
It was near the river. But also Ewok Kebab, whose name is James, can show us where the decent pubs are as well, and he'll bring his curated set of Cards Against Humanity on Friday. Excellent. So please do, if you want to bring some little games or anything to play in the pub, please do. Last year we had, I think there was some Hero Quest going on. We bought some horrible game, but it's also just a good chance to chat and catch up with everybody. And then the next day, Crackcon actually starts at 10 o'clock. So if you are playing in a game, you can get in from 10 o'clock. If you are setting up a game, then you can get in from about 8:30 to set up. If you're somewhere fall in between the two of those, go and get a nice coffee and turn up. And then we're going for it. But remember, if you've got anything to bring on the day for the raffle, thank you. Just bring it with, and we'll chuck it in. It's going to be a big one. I'm looking at
the best one ever. I think.
It's going to be the best. I think it's going to be the best one ever, and that's taking some beating. Raffle tickets are available on the Friday night when we're drinking in the pub, and also available on the day. Dom, have you got your card reader again?
Do you know, I've just been liaising with your wife and setting up on her phone. So yes, we will have a card reader. In fact, we'll be able to take him on 2 phones. So don't worry.
You're giving Hayley a card reader.
You're all sorted.
Oh no, she has a spreadsheet and a card reader. Is that so yeah, and we
tonight, so it works. So we know it's working.
Yeah, so we absolutely cannot wait to see you all, and we're really looking forward to it. So remember, come along. Have fun, and yeah, play some games. And
we will try and get some video from the day.
I'm the only one who's putting on a game, so we've got 3 people. So we have there is a Dom, a Ken, and a Steve. If you are in need of help, depending on which one you ask, the level of help you get may vary. So, so there we go. But anyway, right. So we will. We're back. So. Right then, Mike, we've got, just to sort of finish having a look at this. So I was just having a look. The layout they've done on here is really cool. There are healers now. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, you have the imam on the assassin's retinue who can heal, and you have the chaplain on the Templars retinue who can also heal. So, yeah.
Okay, that's very cool. And then just a really nice, I like it. I say as well. So if you have the hero cards and everything that you've already got, I suppose people could still use those. It's just a Divus Alarmus that they need to.
Yeah. The hero cards haven't changed. The deck has changed slightly. There's some extra cards in there.
Okay.
The art on these new cards is tremendous too. I should point out, it's lovely. I think how
do you sort of work out? I know balance isn't something you're particularly trying to get absolutely even-handed on every side, but how do you make sure that the cards aren't too unbalancing as a game that one side has such a huge advantage against?
You can't.
Right.
That's the game. It's balance is for other games. This is Ruckus.
There is no balance.
There is no balance in the Force. No, but that's perfect. But yeah,
forget that. It's Ruckus doesn't. We don't give any. We don't doff our hat to balance at all. It just doesn't happen.
I like that. That's a good term.
That's the way it goes. What happens? Happens.
Love it.
I like that. It is. It can. There's no point when I've been playing say I play quite a lot of games now. There's no point in trying to mitigate for situations because there'll always be something that if you've got a plan, to I'm going to go down, sneak along the buildings, and then go around the corner and smack that guy in the head with my pole axe. You just need to go for it, because if you don't, something will happen. Something will happen that means your guy somehow something goes wrong. You know, you need to. I would say it's actually, you need to be decisive in Ruckus. I feel that you can't sort of linger around trying to, you know, do things. You've got to make sort of bold moves. Those moves will probably go wrong, but you need to be bold about what
it does
you do.
mean that when you pull something off, it feels brilliant. You know, when you actually achieve what you set out to achieve, wow, that feels a fantastic thing. And Ruckus, unlike a lot of the games, there's a lot of aspects where you can do heroic stuff. Like, you know, you can heroically dive through a window, or jump through a door, or leap from one building to another building. Those sort of things are possible, you know. I say possible, I don't say likely, but they're possible that you might achieve them. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm just going to go through some of the starred comments before we can't really come on here. So Carol said this is their first live appearance here. Major disaster. How you doing? All the best for Crackcon the weekend. Keep up with good work. We will. And right. David asked if we have the knights that say knee. You had yours though, didn't you?
Yeah, I won. I won that last Crackcon. I won the unit award, best painted.
Oh yes, yes, you did.
My knights who say knee. Oh no, it wasn't. It was the Holy Grail. Holy Grail.
Graves, yeah, that's it. Yeah. And that's just reminded me, and thank you. The painting competition. That's what I forgot. So
that's what I'm
absolutely. So of course we have got the painting competition going at Crackcon. Which is being sorted by Dan and Stu. So if you want to enter, there are 3 different entries. There's the single miniature entry, there is a large miniature entry, and then there's like a unit entry. There will be prizes for the best. It's judged through the day by Dan and by us, and then we take loads of pictures. We'll put them on the stream. We'll put them up in the group. You get a nice certificate and that, and it's all a bit of fun. So if you have got something that you're proud of that you painted, there's no theme. It doesn't even have to have been painted specifically for this. Bring it along. Enter it into competition. We see so many nice models on the group, and I know some people have got some absolutely cracking things that they're painted. But also, even if it's like just a fun base or a vignette or something that you've done, bring it along, because it was awesome last year, and we had so many entries. We weren't sure how many entries we were going to get last year, were we, Dom? But no, it was awesome. There were quite a lot. So please do bring it along. It's a lovely little addition to the day. So I will post up about that in the group as well. Thanks, Mike. That's my contractual obligation to that one done. So there seems to be a lot of this. So Lynn, Assassin's Creed on the tabletop, hell yes. Someone called Robin put, if someone had a large tower, I wonder who has a large tower, Robin, sitting idle, and they can have it jumping off and landing in a pile of straw at the bottom.
Anything but a 1, mate.
Anything but a 1. We've got a Ruckus game coming up, and I've chatted a little bit to Mike about this. I think he knows what we're going to do, and that we might have to pop that kind of mechanic in there. I think it could be very Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. We'll fire someone over a certain wall with a catapult. Lionheart is asking if he remembers correctly if the assassins could have killed Saladin.
Yeah, well, they made 4 attempts on his life. They hated Saladin, and he hated them. Because of course he was a Sunni Muslim, and he was come from a different end of the religious scale, and his rise to fame kind of got in their way a little bit. So they made 4 attempts on him apparently, and he killed 2 of the assassins himself. He wasn't really coming forward. Yeah, he was quite a character. So
that's quite cool. There's a scenario there. There's a scenario right there.
That's another retinue I've written, as well as an Ayabid retinue for Saladin's men. So that's all horse archers. So retinue, it's all horse archers with some fighters in there as well.
Digger Down Under says he's off to rewatch all of the Arn Blu-rays. I like the Arn films. I like the Arn in the books. Matt, imagine being able to play a tactical Assassin's Creed without any of that Nexus pitch. Glorious. I think you're earning a lot of people here. Where are we? Totally agree. There is nothing better in the wargaming world than watching people play your own rules and all are laughing.
Yeah, it's fantastic feeling. First time I saw it, it was the warmest glow. I got quite emotional. It was lovely to see a whole table full of people just with tears in their eyes and holding their sides laughing. And I thought, I did that. It's a fantastic feeling.
That's fantastic. I think as well, obviously, again, you've been on the stream before. We've chatted a lot. We were at Crackcon last year, but a lot of your personality. You get, as you talked about Warwick's games, and his personality, I think, comes over in those games, and I think your personality comes through in your games. But sometimes you can get rule sets that are just dry. They're
too many of them.
We've all done those. Dom and I were talking about them the other week, weren't we? We're just like, in here, there's a good set of rules, but they're just written.
Yeah.
And in a way that's maybe just a little bit inaccessible. No. Shaco says he's loving the sound of the rule tweaks to make it for the Assassins and the Templars. Lionheart, I think that was the rule for the Templars he's talking about. That he likes is with the charging. Really like that. James wanted to know if Steve had a go at Ruckus while you were him and yes, kind of. We had a short game of it, really. We didn't have time to fit everything in, but we had a go at it, and I'm hoping we're going to meet up and play a game later in the year because he really wants to. He's a guy who's very busy all the time, and he doesn't have much time for gaming. He loves wargaming, but he does very little of it because he's got so many other things that he has to do. He lectures a lot. He's on a very tight circuit, and he's around about all the time. He does Tewkesbury and places that you can catch him all over, and he's a very entertaining lecturer who knows his stuff inside out. I have to keep my eye open for that. But I mean, Will has just said here he's just pre-ordered that book on Fred Books at $24 and free shipping. So thank you for the tip.
It's money well spent.
No, I think that's on the Christmas list for sure. Because I know what's going to happen here in a few weeks' time. I know what's going to be on when we're looking at the viewers' pictures. There's going to be a lot of Templars and then a lot of Assassins. And then there's going to be loads. I do have a load of stuff. I think still came around from the First Crusade. Craig says he's literally building armies for the First Crusade. Now going to be expanding to others. What a fantastic skirmish game to lead into some mass battles. Absolutely, you could feasibly do the action the night before that leads to something in there. We
did that with the Wars of the Roses. We did a 7-game campaign, which was 5 games of Ruckus and 2 games of Billhooks. So we had 3 Ruckus games, and the results of those games decided what was going to happen in the first Billhooks battle, which was Barnet, of course, and then we did 2 more Ruckus games, and then that decided what was going to happen in the last battle, which was Tewkesbury. And it was great. It was really, really good fun, and it's such a contrast to go from one system to the other. And the systems are quite. The one thing is the same with Ruckus as with Billhooks is it's the same saving throws, and it's the same requirement to hit. So it's very easy to blend the 2 games together. We called it Ruck Hooks and used it like that, and it works. And sooner or later, I'll get round to writing something up about that, so it's an official thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And the thing I really want to do now is write a Ruckus campaign. We've got a Ruckus campaign, but I want to write one that's more Ruckusy. Anything in the one stuff.
Is this going to be the kind of campaign where you have a beloved character and then off the table they get, like the bloody flux or something, and then that's it. They're gone, and they're gone. Or your favourite bit of equipment is gambled away in some bar, some tavern somewhere.
Now you've mentioned it, both those things will be in there.
I think you've just given him 2 really good ideas straight away if you didn't have them already.
Keep on coming. Keep on coming. You're writing it for me.
Plenty of, because I'll just recount everything that ever happened to me in any Dungeons and Dragons game I played in my childhood. Paul said,
talk about lots of extensions on this, Mike, but would you ever sort of take it out of a period where it isn't pointy sticks and arrows?
Oh, yeah. Well, so to be honest with you, Assassins and Templars, I didn't see that coming. That wasn't my idea. That wasn't a plan. It was a curveball, really, because what I was working on is going to pike and shot. So I've written the rules for Reavers, and last Christmas, my lovely wife bought me everything from Flags of War. So I've got all those beautiful Reavers figures.
Yeah.
And I was I finished the Robin Hood stuff, and I went, right, the Reavers. I'll get on with the Reavers. Yeah. Hello, Mike. We want you to do Crusades. So, and I didn't have a single Assassins or Templars figures. Now I've got about 120 of those, and they're done now. And I can start on the Reavers again. In fact, I've just started.
Cool.
On some of the Reavers. So, and Ruckus works really well for Reavers, but he's really primitive firearms and early muskets and the nature of the war, the border. Reavers is fascinating period. 300 years of it, where the only way you can survive is by robbing your neighbour, and the only way they can survive is by robbing their stuff back from you. And you've got these tremendous feuds that built up, and there's very little law going on, and it's fascinating, really. And there's all kinds of unique things like the ponies that they rode and the weapons that they used. They had bugger all in the way of money, but they had fantastic weapons. They imported them from Germany. The very best wheel-lock pistols and this kind of thing. So that's written. We've written it all. I just want to get it painted up now so we can move on to that.
I'm waiting because I've got all those lovely bloody miniatures that I'm sitting.
Oh yeah, they'd work well as well, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely.
That'll be next. So it'll be Reavers, and then we'll go into ECW and 30 Years War. And what I'll do is, I'm not an expert on either of those periods, so I'll have to learn about them. But we won't daddy long now. It's going to be a fairly brusque visit to that, because by way of entry to pirates, you see, because pirates really want to with us, doesn't it?
I mean, pirates,
swashbuckling is what it's all about, really. Pistol in each hand, a cutlass in your teeth.
Are you just following Errol Flynn's? Sort of feel like because you did the Robin Hood stuff, and then obviously you've gone Captain Blake. You're following all of Errol Flynn's.
I'm following my film collection, really. I'm just going along.
That's fantastic. I mean, I if I can have Matthew Hopkins Witchfinder running around,
and of course,
absolutely.
Bloody Miniatures have just done his Jacobite collection, haven't they? You've got you've got Guy Fawkes and all that going on. So that's perfect again for Ruckus.
See, that's the thing. You've got lovely miniatures, and Dom and I have painted up loads of them, and we've created units out of them. But so many of them they're almost too good to put in a unit. Having a guy on your back. You want that, like, so. You have it like the guy who's like the judge. Who's out there drinking some wine? It looks like he's got this kind of game just written all over him. Paul said, so if you haven't tried it, definitely give it a go. Now, we should say Mike is going to be at Crackcon on Saturday, so and he's going to be on one of the demo tables, and you're going to be bringing Assassins and Templars along with you.
Yeah.
So come over and see him and have a game. Have a laugh, Dom. You're going to get because you didn't get your game, did you, last time?
I didn't. No, I'm actually going to have a go at this. I really want to have a go.
Yeah. Yes. When I hear Dom swearing really loudly across the table, across the room, I'll know that he's playing Ruckus.
Yeah, I'm not playing against your wife though. I'm just saying it right now. Just
no, absolutely no. Digger Down Under says he's got a lot of Des Vault miniatures. I think he's on about the Fireforge ones because he's already got loads of boxes in the stash.
Yeah, that would work.
Absolutely. Use those.
All the Victrix ones.
Also, and that's what someone said here. Would the Islamic and medieval knights from Victrix work?
Absolutely perfect. Yeah.
And that's what Rob said. The challenges of finding the right figure for your captains and squires, or foot and mounted. You always want something a bit unique. That is true. You sometimes do.
It's a perfect opportunity for a kit bash, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I did a blog on this very recently about converting plastic gripping beast to assassins by using any old dagger that you can find, really. If he's got a knife in his hand, he's an assassin. And the thing is, what did assassins look like? Well, they look like everybody else because obviously they're in disguise, you know. Mostly look like Templars. If they're going to fight the Templars, they should be looking like Templars, really, because that's how they insinuate their way into that other unit, whip out the knives and start stabbing people. So you can have almost anything in your assassin's retinue.
It's such a... it definitely gets a sort of creative sort of juices going. I think that's what's going on in the chat here. Shaco says, with the Ruckus take on balance, I'm expecting a campaign to be a crossover with John Robertson's Dark Room. Yadai. Kevin, could Ruckus be used for a Teutonic force against the heathen Baltic forces? Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and when the Templars retinue we're using, equally you could use it for Hospitallers, you could use it for Templars. Although when you're looking at those more northern crusades, it's a slightly different retinue for the Teutons. And I'm just writing one now for a friend, a Teutonic retinue, and I expect that'll be on the Facebook group before you know it, as a file. You know, so people just download it and have it.
Fantastic. Lazy Pirate Painting says, now pirates, he's in. Who would have thought? Lionheart would be called it would be cool to use for the gunpowder plot. You could if you wanted to run a scenario where they're in that barn at the end and you got Guy Fawkes trying to, you know, that would be, this is the rule set. And that's the kind of the way the game works. You don't have to. There are scenarios and obviously scenario rules, and you have them in the book. But I found it quite straightforward to come up with our own scenarios without too much hassle. You just limit it by game turns and just do some very simple. You can have some simple objectives, and you can just create little events around the board. And because you could change the Divers Alarmers cards yourself. You could change, for example, the 7 to something that suits you. Like if there's some beehives on the board, maybe the bees get out and sting anyone within a 5-inch radius, and that's that. You know, they go running across the board. You have one for the cattle, don't you?
But they change with different scenarios. Different scenarios, they have different meanings. And initially, we used playing cards for the Divers Alarms, and it's still quite a good idea to use playing cards, because what you can do is you can increase the chance of something happening. You can have 4 6s, for example, or 4 4s, so you increase the chance of that particular event happening. So playing cards are a very good idea for this, and of course you can call them whatever you like then, and that's one of the reasons why the cards still have the playing card numerals on them.
Yes,
they're all the spades, but that's why they have them on there, so you can give it its own meaning.
Your own twist on it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a blank set, really, of the cards, so you can write your own.
You can just write on it. Yeah.
So what I try and do is I try and put with every retinue, I try and put at least one diverse alarm that affects just them and nobody else. In the Templars Assassins game, there's one card, the Jack, I think, which has a different effect for each retinue, depending on your
Okay.
So that's
interesting.
Yeah, and I'm not going to tell you what they are because they're really fun. You'll love them. I'm not going to tell you what you have to get.
I can't wait. I'm going to I'm going to go and bully a couple of people into to painting some stuff. I won't say what their names are. They know who they are. Actually, I think everybody knows who they are. But it doesn't take much. Killer Kriegsman says, "Could you do feudal Japan?"
Been done.
Someone's done that in the group. Yeah,
it's been done already, and they did it using the standard Ruckus rules, because if you think about it, heavy armor and these big solid weapons, there's not a lot of difference really. You know, a lot of archery, a lot of longbows, a lot of what is basically a bill, and good armor is the same. And there's a little group on the Isle of Wight that play it all the time. They play Samurai Ruckus. They've changed a couple of the rules. They like the dynamic nature of the fighting. So if you score a hit on your opponent, you push them back an inch. If they score a hit on you, they push you back an inch. So if you hit them 3 times, they go back 3 inches, regardless of how many injuries they take. And so their game, the fights tend to move backwards and forwards, and sometimes people fall off of things or get pushed into rivers and that kind of thing. So they've got their own little take on it, really. But they've been playing it since the beginning, and they're still playing it. Ironically, it's being played in Japan, in Tokyo, by a wargames club. There's at least 40 people in that wargames club that play Ruckus every week, and they're using it to do Lord of the Rings. So they're using the peasant rules for the goblins. They've changed them slightly. They're using the henchmen as orcs. They've changed that slightly as well. They've got their own rules for things like ogres and things like that. And they've got a stacked up hero who's Aragorn. And they're doing the last I heard, they'd got out of the mines of Moria, and they've just done that bit. They've done the Battle of Balin's Tomb and all that kind of thing. But I haven't spoken to them for a couple of months, so I don't know. They're probably on the mountain by now, you know.
The Divers Alarmus cards, you could have a right laugh with those. Yeah, that's very cool. Rogue. If it has a knife in its hand, it's an assassin. Looking at my wife as she has a knife in her hand, worried. Yes, Robin, you can start printing build. Robin, we have Jerusalem. We have Jerusalem to build. I have the files. I'm just saying.
The whole of Jerusalem.
I have Jerusalem. Just saying. That's fantastic. I mean, so what? Well, I suppose the next thing to say is when are you going to have a rest? Is probably one of these. Are you going to take a rest soon once this comes out and?
Not really, no. Not really, no. Because my part of Assassins and Templars is done now, really, and there'll be some more little bits to do. As I say, I've written an Iabid retinue, which is really a Turkic archer retinue, and I want to do a couple more of that through the Saladin type forces, and then I'm going to do a more normal Crusader retinue, not supercharged. So that Crusades can be played, and I'm going to start painting my lovely Reavers. But we are looking very much towards next year and the big book of Ruckus.
That was going to be my question. Was going to be, can we've talked about this before? And how close is that? Do you think to being a thing, to actually sort of coming to fruition?
Well. Quite close is the answer. I can't be too specific, but loosely it should be, hopefully, certainly this time next year it'll be out and about, and hopefully by summer next year is what I've been told. And really, all the writing for that has been done. Yeah. But we're going to rewrite parts of it, and we're going to change its format slightly, and we're going to introduce. We hopefully have 3 campaign systems in there, because the basic campaign system works very well for 2 players, and I think if it's extended and adapted slightly, it'd make a good multiplayer system. But I do want something in there that is definitely a Ruckus thing, that is unmistakably Ruckus, whereas this one really is borrowed from other systems. I'd like to make something that has that feeling of Ruckus in it, where you anything but a one is always going to be the motto. So that's yet to come. That will have the basic rules at the beginning, and the mounted rules are going to be incorporated in that. It'll have the campaign set. It'll have the bits for extra characters. That what's called mercenaries at the moment will become allies, I think, because we've got a whole different breed of mercenaries coming along. And then it will have, I don't know if it'll have all the retinues we've written so far, but it'll certainly have most of them. And we can't fit in all the scenarios I've written because I've written 36 scenarios. So we'll fit what seems appropriate of those. And at the moment, I've written things as supplements. So there's a 100 Years' War supplement, which has the English, the French, and the free companies in it, and has its own specific scenarios. But we'll probably write it as separately, so it will be retinues and then scenarios. And then we'll have either on the retinues, it will have which number scenarios work particularly well with them, or it will be on the scenarios which ones are used for which conflicts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I've written some those 100 Years' War ones, the Chevauché and Stop Thief are written specifically for that theatre of war. They work well for others, and there's things like the ambush and the cattle raid which work well with the Irish and all the border warfare. So that's the best way to do it, I think. Maybe have them color coded or something. So if you're playing a campaign using these retinues, then you want this, and this scenario. That's the basic idea for it. And as I say, all the actual rules are written; they just need to be rewritten and edited. And it's the editing that takes a long time, as far as I can see, and then all the pictures to be taken. But the idea is there, and the momentum is starting for that. So that's it. So no, not much of a break. As soon as this is published and gone, and we've got it firmly embedded, which is over Christmas really, then I'm cracking on to get this next game sorted.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming and chatting. It's I've got plans because I want to carry on with my first crusade, so I can see this bleeding into that, and then carrying on. And I mean, what fun! Also, I have loads of terrain already, which is great. Although Robin could always do more. Hint, hint. Right, I think we've probably just got about enough time to see some of the viewers' pictures. If you guys are up for that, because there's been some awesome work over in the group. So Benjamin, he's been working on some bunkers. I really like these.
Yeah,
really
very
cool.
good.
I like a bunker. It's very, very nice. Alex, you're gonna have to help me out here, Dom. But I think these are the Victrix ones. Are these?
Yeah, I think that is a Victrix, one of the new Victrix models. Look really nice.
I really like the camo that he's done over there. So I look at that and that just gives him. You know how Steve says he looks at like French drummers and gets palpitations. I feel like that when I look at camo.
I know exactly what you mean. I look at those and I think, no, I just can't do it.
Oh, it's fine. Give me a complicated coat of arms with lions and something. Oh, I'll have a go. Give a splinter camo. No. I think it's the randomness that.
Yeah.
The pattern.
It is. You're trying to make it look random without making it look random.
Yeah.
It's really hard to do that.
Tie myself in knots doing that. Bar has been working on his 10mm orcs. These are the Wargames Atlantic ones. I really like those. He's just working on those. There's a lot of people who seem quite taken with these. I know the skeletons are out now, and the dwarves as well. So, but yeah, they look really cool. I like the sort of the wolf riders. They look really cool.
Yeah,
so they're
I like the way he's grouped them up and as the units. They really work well. Yeah, nice.
I had to share this. Some guy called Mike painted.
Oh my lord!
Some guy called Alexander. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you didn't post this, but I would. So this, you said this was the first bust that you'd done.
Yeah, I did one for a friend a very long time ago, but it wasn't anything like this. This was difficult. I enjoyed this. It's so different from painting figures. I'd recommend it to anyone. It's so relaxing.
See, I look at that and I don't know if I'd be able to relax. It looks amazing.
Would terrify me. I just no.
That's
very impressive.
That is such a good job. Do you know what I'd say? My favourite part of it, but I really like the work you've done on the cloak. Like you can see all of the just the sort of the texture.
Do you know the bit I'm most pleased with is the plinth, because it actually looks like it's made out of wood, doesn't it? I was delighted with that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I thought it was. I thought
it was too.
It's made of the same stuff as him. It's resin. I was really chuffed with that.
Oh my goodness, even better than it looks. Wow.
Yeah. No, that's very, very nice. Games and brushes. He's done William Marshall. Got to have a William Marshall. Very cool. Always nice to see him. Kevin has painted this, which is from the Mandalorian. You got Boba Fett on the back of a Rancor. Not the Mandalorian, the Boba Fett series. Sorry. But yeah, so you got that as birthday. So very cool. Fantastic. That's really, really nice.
Very impressive.
Bill has been playing the games. You can see the Normans and the Saxons going for it. Look at that table.
That's
How cool
brilliant.
is that?
That's a lovely.
That's what I'd like to see,
isn't it? Really nice.
Kerry working on these. These are Claymore, I believe. Like
it's a mixture of antediluvian and Claymore. Yeah, really nice.
Lovely figures.
Very, very cool. Lovely. Martin has been working on some classic army figures, which I really like.
Oh wow!
So cool. Very, very nice. Matt Wright is running more time at Crackcon, so he's been painting. If you remember, we showed that grave digger monster thing. These are his witch hunters.
Wow.
And the chap on the right, I believe, is called Thrice Racked Martin.
Did he have anyone in mind for that?
Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but you definitely want to go and have a look at his warband names on the day. But no, very cool. Those lighting effects are lovely.
It looks great.
Really, really
very
nice.
Cool.
Very, very cool. Kurt has been painting up some classic goblin bolt throwers, rock globbers, bolt throwers. I remember these. They are lovely models. Paul has been working on some dismounted dragoons. Really nice. See, look, you got those as single figures there. That's half a Ruckus band. Just saying. There we go. They're very cool. Now Philip has been working on. Now these are Arthurians or his Saxons. I can't remember which way around this was now. These are the Saxons, I believe.
They look like the
yeah, really cool. Very, very nice. Nice and colourful, actually, as well. That's right. Yeah. Like lots of colour. Pete has been working on. This is from Age of Sigmar. These are the flesh hounds of Khorne, I believe they are. I mean, they look nasty. As in, they look great painted, but they look nasty in terms of they look mean. That's what I mean.
You wouldn't want to meet one of them. Put it that way.
No, they're very cool. I really like the flesh effects on the on those. They're very nice. Other Paul has been doing some Rus and some Vikings.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, very cool.
They're Victrix, aren't they? I think. Yeah,
they are the Victrix. Yeah, absolutely. Some guy called Robin has been painting up the Duke of Norfolk for a game that he may be having on Saturday. I recognise the guy on the horse there. That's very cool. No, we realised that we didn't have the Duke of Norfolk. So Robin took it on himself. He was actually one of the key commanders of the battle. But no, that's a very cool, cool retinue. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Richard, I like this because of the inclusion of the animals. So really, very nice. They have been doing some pillaging and some raiding. Those readers
carrying those sheep
going off. They are. Excellent. Now Silas was playing. But is this? This isn't not a test. Is this the game? This is not a test, or the post-apocalyptic one? I might be getting my games mixed up. But he was having a game now. I just really liked the board setup. It was really, really cool, and it's a good game as well. Simon has been working his way through a lot of World War II stuff, and this is his painting is Japanese. I believe he painted these in about 2 days. He did
something like that. He said he had a bit of a block, didn't he? And then suddenly launched back into it all again.
And he's just gone for it. It's very
cool.
His
daughter involved doing them as well now. So
he did. I know. I need mine to be a bit older and get some interest. Steve was playing some sharp practice.
Nice.
So one of your favourites, Dom.
I do like a bit of sharp practice.
I'll put these in for you, Dom. Tim's been working on his World War II. Look at that. Very nice. Cool. And then finishing on World War II, Tom had painted up that's a panther, right?
That is a panther.
There we go. See, I knew that without looking because I remember painting up my one and hating every second of it. That is lovely though. See, to get that camo is really nice.
Very
lovely work. So there is a cracking amount of stuff over there, guys. If you aren't members of the Facebook group, womble over to the link down below, answer Dom's questions free and he'll let you in. We love to see what you're working on, whether it's painting, battle reports, or even just works in progress. Just post them in there and share them because we love to see them down there. Next week we're not here because we're taking the day off because we're going to be recovering from the weekend. But then the week after, we are back with Steve, where the topic is changes in the wargaming industry that you would like to see. That's not going to get contentious at all.
That's going to go bad, isn't it?
That's not going to be contentious at all. So we'll be over on Steve's channel for that. I'd just like to once again say a big thank you to Mike for taking the time to come and just chill out with us and chat about all things Assassins and Templars and Ruckus. So yeah, thanks. I'm looking forward to seeing it at the weekend. We will.
Yeah, thanks very much. Looking forward to the weekend. I'll be seeing you in the bar at the hotel Friday evening, I reckon.
Absolutely. We will be in there. Guys, if anyone who's coming to Crackcon, if you've got any problems, you should have our email addresses and anything like that. You can always message us. Just let us know. There's no real plan. Just find people, have fun. And hopefully win lots of lovely raffle prizes. That is the plan. Is there anything else we need to say? I can't think.
Don't think so. If you're not on the game already, then don't worry. There's plenty of games to play.
There is. So
we can move you around. Absolutely fine.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for taking the time to join us, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time once we're back from Derby, assuming that we're all still friends. So we will. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.